Every baby needs a daddy to keep her worry-free.
I've been a lookalike for the last 4 years. With my website up and running, I work as Unmistakably Marilyn, just trying to bring glamour and the 50s feel of Hollywood back to our lives. I have loved Marilyn Monroe since I was 12 years old, and I was in a musical. I've got a background in acting, and I was in a musical called Kiss Me Kate, and it was set, half of the play was set in the 50s, and I put my 50s dress on, put my hair in curls, and everybody backstage was saying, oh, you look like Marilyn Monroe. I'd never associated myself with Marilyn before because there is only one Marilyn. But I went onto the internet and I thought, well, I know that there's other people doing lookalike work, and I thought, well, I could give it a go. I've got the acting, I've got the singing, I've got the knowledge of the costumes. So that's when I thought, right, maybe me and Marilyn could have a lovely partnership. When I'm hired out as a lookalike, I would go to an event. I could be hired out just to meet and greet guests if it's an opening of something. I could go for photographs if it's promoting a new business. I would go to weddings, maybe to greet the guests afterwards, serve champagne. I also do a full set of up to 20 of Marilyn's songs from her films. Not everybody realises that there was, quite a few songs that she sang. We all know the Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend one, but she actually sang about 25 songs in her career. So I try and fit as many into a set as I can, so I can do an evening with Marilyn, or just you go to an event and you meet her, but not singing. Marilyn did 28 films in total. I would have to say the one that I would watch over and over and over again is Some Like It Hot. But for her acting ability, the 28 films show such a wide range in her acting ability, but the ones for me would be Bus Stop and Don't Bother to Knock, to show that she was actually a very, very good actress. The song that I absolutely love is that Old Black Magic from Bus Stop, which she sang as a chanteuse, so it was out of key, it was out of tune, and she just had the great time with it. She actually sang it live, which was not something that people did back then. They lip-synced quite a lot, but you can have a lot of fun with it. As this year is the 50th anniversary of Marilyn Monroe's passing, I've decided that I'm going to go out for 8 nights to Hollywood. I'm going to visit places that Marilyn went to, the handprints in the cement, Marilyn's house, Marilyn's grave, have wall-to-wall Marilyn for 8 days. The 50th is special. Everything this year has been building up to the 50th anniversary. A lot of the fans and the people that work with her won't be there for the 100th. Everybody that worked with her is sadly dying off, so there are very, very few people now that can tell you the story of meeting her, that can tell you the story of being in a film with her. So the 50th really is the big event for any Marilyn fan. There's people all over the world going out. We're all going to meet up. We've all met on the internet, and we're going to have, hopefully, just the greatest time. I think there is going to be about 6 or 7 of us. How much we will stay as Marilyn for the 8 days, we don't know. Obviously, as a fan myself, I am going out to honour Marilyn, to see the woman that I have grown to love, and not to be her while I'm out there. But there's going to be a whole lot of us. Hopefully we'll all share tips and tricks of the trade, but the fan base is going to be huge while we're out there as well, so it's going to be a really, really good time.
Happy birthday, Mr. President. Happy birthday to you.
To become a Marilyn Monroe lookalike, I think first you need to understand the childlike qualities that Marilyn had. She wasn't childish, but she was childlike. She had a very natural innocence to the world. She believed everything was good. So if somebody's telling you a story, you have to be very, very interested, like a small child would be absolutely fascinated with what you were saying. She was always interested in other people's lives, whereas to other people she had the most glamorous life. But if you said you did something like a car mechanic, she would be so fascinated in that. I think you need to make other people feel they are as important as they're thinking you are. So to give everybody that feeling that they are as wonderful and that they can go away thinking, oh, I met Marilyn Monroe and she thought I was as wonderful as she was. The comedy with Marilyn, she has this absolute timing, wonderful timing. You know, when asked by a lot of people what she thought about being a sex symbol, you know, to say, oh, you know, a lot of people ask me what it's like to be a sex symbol. Well, you know, I thought symbols were things you clash together. She had this absolutely wonderful comedy and timing and was never afraid to make fun of herself. And a lot of actresses these days would never pull a funny face on camera, would never, you know, look silly, whereas Marilyn and that era of film star were able to take themselves for what they were, human. When I've been out to events, there is always the preparation of the event beforehand. I like to try and tailor my what I would do at an event to that event. So every event's different for me, but to get feedback, the best feedback I've ever had was after an event where I'd been singing all evening. It was a tough gig to do, but it was a very, very good one, was that a lady came up, sat next to me afterwards and went, she even smells like Marilyn. Now, this woman wasn't old enough to even know what Marilyn smelled like, but I always use Chanel whenever I'm Marilyn. And for me, just to have that, you've got all senses covered. You've got the look, you've got the sound, you've got the smell. For me, that was the best compliment anybody could give.
Rich or poor, I don't care who. If he hasn't got $1 million, then a half will do.
Training wise for Marilyn, I am an actress anyway. I've acted since I was old enough to walk, and I've a very theatrical family. But basically looking at not necessarily her films. Her films, she is a character, that's a part she's playing, but to look at her rare interviews, interviews that she had in her home that are available on to listen to on audio, to try and get that accent, to try and get little things in the voice that are very, very much her. In her own life, she had a slight stutter as well. If she got flustered, that would occasionally come out. But to try and get the softness of the voice, it wasn't a harsh American accent, it was a very soft American accent. To try and get the little looks of the face every so often, the wide-eyed and the, really? Oh, thank you. Very, very subtle, but feminine, very, very feminine attributes that Marilyn had. My favourite event as a lookalike so far was singing to the US troops. They were on a training exercise on Sky, and I was asked to go and do a bit of an icebreaker dinner for them. And for me, Marilyn sang to the US troops in Korea. She said that was the highlight of her whole career. She didn't feel anything but good. And to me, to be able to say I've sang and entertained the US troops as well, yeah, that's good.
I wanna be loved by you, but diddly 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 dum, boop boopy doo.